Well, seems like a yearly occurrence when we check in with Illinois State and Brock Spack, who's our guest now here on the Big Sky Breakdown. Illinois State playing in California against UC Davis on Saturday, but what a win by the Redbirds over the weekend. They slay the Giant. They knock off number one seed at North Dakota State. Coach, first of all, thanks so much for joining us and congratulations on such a huge win. How are you doing?
Doing fine, and we're excited for this weekend.
Well,
Another game.
take me through last week. The box score is crazy, right? Because I mean, you guys had you turned the ball over a bunch, but you were able to do it. In the fourth quarter, you have this furious rally. You come all the way back, you go for two, you get the 29-28 win over the Bison. So, what did it take? How are you guys able to have such an awesome
Well,
effort?
we actually it was so frustrating, Coulter, because we were playing really well, and we had we I think we had a 400 and some odd yards, 450 some yards total offense, and they had 178. And usually it's not that way, it was amazing, and but yet the five turnovers were the difference in the game. They were able to score off at least three of them, I think, and that two of them, and then maybe three. Two. I think they scored. They had a pick six. They scored off the one down inside the five, and then we had a punt return, which I considered a turnover basically for a touchdown. So it was it was wild, and but I felt at halftime that we were playing so well. It would be a shame if we were to lose the game. And players played really well, and then came in the fourth quarter, and we just bam, we just made play after play after play in all phases of the game, and it was just amazing. And then to our players' credit, they didn't quit. They stayed after it, and they weren't going to let this one slip through their hands. They played so well.
Any hesitation to go for two, or did you know you're going to go for two if you had an
Oh,
opportunity?
I knew we were going to go. I thought about it Tuesday, Wednesday, and told the staff on Thursday that, and I wanted to hear their input. Obviously, they were all in agreement that if we would score late in the game and we are down one, would we risk kicking an extra point and go to overtime with them, and they're really good in the red zone, or would we be better off to go for the win, 3 yard gain, and I thought one play, 3 yards, we'd go for it. So we made that decision early in the week, and I told the team that if that scenario came up, we would go for it. And so there was no hesitation. Everybody knew what the decision was. We've already made it, and we all agreed that we're going to go for it, and that's what we did. And we had a good play call, actually, and then we executed, and that's what you had to do in that situation. It was great.
Just the mental preparation that goes into getting ready for a game like that where I mean the only one team's gone there and won in like the last 10 years in the playoffs. So how did you not get intimidated by that factor and what did you think of your guys' prep, not just physically but also mentally throughout the week to sort of embrace that opportunity?
Well, I think I thought they felt we played them early in the year here. It was 18-16 going in the fourth quarter, and we let the game get away from us in about the last 10 minutes, and I think they felt that they didn't finish the first game, and said, in fact, we get an opportunity, we're gonna we think we can win this game the next time, and they were right, and but no one saw the adversity that was going to happen inside this game. I mean, it was just unbelievable. It was the big plays that they made, and usually they'd have 50 points on the board, and we'd be putting the twos in, getting ready for next year. So, but it didn't end up that way. We kept fighting, and we played really well outside the turnovers, and the first three passes were tipped. They were tipped by there were good defensive plays on the line of scrimmage. They tipped the ball, and the ball came off, weird and funky, and it got picked off, and one was a pick six, and so that was tough luck on our part, but it kind of went the other way in the fourth quarter. So, I think our guys were really positive, and they were really confident at halftime because it was a one-score game, and all that stuff happened, but we were still able to be only one down, one score. I mean, that was really amazing. And I don't think we even when they scored to go up by 14 that we were rattled or shook. So I just was proud of the way we handled that part of the game.
Well, the way your team's played down the stretch now and then into the playoffs, what's been the keys for you guys to get to this point in the FCS playoffs?
Um, I think it's we we train pretty hard. Everybody trains hard, but I think this team is older, a little old. I mean, we have some guys that certain parts of our team were inexperienced, and but we thought we had really good leadership amongst amongst our team, and they helped those guys that were maybe less experienced to get through the tough times and that you have as a college football player when you're first starting to play a lot. And I think we had a lot of teaching moments there, and I think we had such good leadership that our older guys, older leaders kept our team together, and it's been a team that's been really tightly knit, has a tight bond, and they just refuse to lose, and they respond well. They respond well when we play poorly. They come back and play well, and that was the good thing about the Southern Illinois game, for example. We came back and played really well the next week, and that was I don't know what team was out there for us that game. I mean, we used to play well. I mean, it was the worst game of the season by far, and they played well. But I think that plays a big part of it. They respond really well. It'll be interesting to see how they handle all this. It appears that everything's going fine, because we're in finals week, and all the students are all locked in the finals, and we're kind of ending that today and tomorrow. So it started. Our campus is starting to empty out, for Christmas break. So, but so we've handled it, I think, pretty well up to this point. I'll be curious to see how we play on Saturday.
That ability to sort of bounce back, that seems like such a key. I mean, just this day and age in college football, period, but also in the Missouri Valley and when you get to this point in the playoffs too. I mean, it seems like the ability to respond because I mean, your guys' league this year was crazy, man. Like everybody beat everybody all year long, basically.
Yeah, it's just we you have to be that way. You can't sit here and pout, and because you, the Valley is just it's just I was in the Big Ten for 22 years as a player and coach, and it's a great league. There's no doubt about it. But I've never been a part of a conference like this that's just so balanced from top to bottom. We had a super team in North Dakota State, and we ended up beating them last weekend. And no one saw that coming. And it's kind of the way the league is built. We just everybody has, they just do a good job of building their programs, either through financially or with good recruiting, and they just do, they just and they're good coaches. Just a lot of quality football programs in our league. So it's what our players know and what they find out. And Southern Illinois brought that back to us was if you don't come to play, it's like a playoff game. You're going to get beat, and it could ruin your season. So you have to be on top of your stuff. So um, I think just going through that kind of meat grinder really helps you in a playoff scenario.
Well, let's talk about this week's matchup then. UC Davis, very impressive, especially in the second half against Rhode Island last week. And that quarterback, Hayden Pinnock, he's been a handful for everybody all year long. So just your initial impressions on the Aggies.
I think they're really good. They were really good a year ago, and when we played them last year when they knocked us out of all the playoffs. So, that's a really good league. The Big Sky is an excellent football league from top to bottom, as well. They're similar to ours. I mean, I don't, it's a really good football. Um, yeah, the quarterback is very dynamic. He's a really good athlete. He throws the ball well on the run. He can run, obviously. Just a really good player. I'm impressed with their fronts. Their offensive line is pretty experienced. I think they bring four of the five starters back to play against us a year ago. They're really really good, I think. Really like their back. They have a couple backs that are really fast. They're really fast at receiver. They're not 6'3", 6'4" guys, but they're fast and they have really good speed, and They can make you miss, and just really dynamic from that standpoint. And they're doggone good on defense. You know, they have. I was that's what I came out of the game last year. I was impressed with both their fronts. I thought they beat us up front on both sides of the ball last year. And you know, us Valley guys, we think we got that covered, you know, all the time. Well, we were from the Valley, but boy, I tell you, Davis is very good up front on both sides of the ball, and they're well coached, and just have a neat scheme offensively that makes put a lot of stress on you. So it's a very good football team.
The fact you played last year, does that play into it at all? Just in terms of preparation, like do you see stuff that's similar that you sort of already have a
Yeah,
idea?
I don't think it's. Yeah, I think coach is gonna stick to his philosophies, but a good coach or a great coach like he is, he's going to adapt to his quarterback, obviously, and adapt to the players around his playmakers and around the offense. And he's he's done a really good job. They've done a really good job of that on defense as well. They lost a few guys like we all do, but they were able to replace them with maybe a different type of guy here or a bigger, stronger guy there or whatever. And they were able to adjust their packages based on those players, and that's what good coaches do. And yeah, I just think he's done a really good job of fitting guys into his system. When we're talking offense now, because he's done it for a while and he understands it, and he's really good at it. And he's from California. It's a lot of good players, and he's able to recruit really sharp, smart kids and who are good players. And so it's a really they're really a handful. I think they're really a good football program, really good.
Well, the last thing I wanted to ask about was Ty Decamp because and just the defense and how key that will be against UC Davis on Saturday. But Decamp's fun to watch, man. I've watched you guys about 4 times this year, and he pops, man. He's everywhere. And I knew his dad when his dad was coaching in Montana a little bit too. So it seems like it's really come to fruition for him, though. So how much has he led your defense, and how important will your defensive effort be against UC Davis?
Um, he's really important. You know, he calls our signals. He's our signal caller, and he gets us in and out of defenses. He can check, it's in and out of stuff that's try to get us out of a like offense. A quarterback gets you out of a bad play, where he tries to get us out of a bad defense. So he does all that stuff for us, and he's a hitter. He's tough, physical, plays hard. And he's a long, angular guy. He does a lot of good things. Now, his younger brother is awfully good, in my opinion. He's a redshirt freshman. He's a freshman All-American. He's going to be a good player. He's a little bigger, a little longer, a little faster, and it'll be interesting. He's going to be a good player down the road. But um, what Ty does is he's just a really cerebral, really smart kid who has a high football IQ. Obviously, he's a coach's son, but he plays like a coach's son. He does all the things you expect, a coach's son to do. He's tough, he's physical, he's technical, he understands the game, he understands leverage and all that stuff, and he's just a really good player.
Well, it should be a fun one to watch on Saturday afternoon, and we wish you the best of luck, Coach. Thanks so much
Well,
for
thanks. We can hardly wait. All right, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it, Coulter.
appreciate it.